Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, 1966, is a groundbreaking absurdist tragicomedy that reimagines two minor characters from William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Merging existential philosophy, wordplay, and meta-theatricality, the play explores themes of fate, free will, identity, and the absurdity of life and death. With echoes of Beckett's Waiting for Godot and clear Shakespearean allusions, Stoppard crafts a richly layered play where two characters who barely register in Hamlet take center stage, yet remain uncertain, confused, and passive as events around them unfold. Background and context. The title of the play is drawn directly from a line in Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 2, when an English ambassador arrives to announce, "Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead." In Shakespeare's play, these courtiers are summoned by King Claudius to spy on Hamlet and accompany him to England. Hamlet discovers their orders and arranges their deaths. Stoppard's play gives these characters life, paradoxically, in the margins of Hamlet, dramatizing their lack of knowledge and agency. Premiering at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 1966, it became an immediate success and is now regarded as a masterpiece of modern drama. Structure and setting. The play is divided into 3 acts. It takes place in an indeterminate world, mostly in liminal, offstage spaces of Hamlet, where Rosencrantz and Guildenstern spend most of their time waiting, pondering, and trying to make sense of their role and fate. Occasionally, scenes from Hamlet are directly reenacted, providing a structural and thematic counterpoint. Act 1 Summary. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are flipping coins. The coin keeps landing on heads, suggesting that probability has broken down. Guildenstern speculates on fate, chance, and reality, while Rosencrantz remains distracted and confused. They don't know why they are where they are or what they are supposed to do. A group of traveling players, the tragedians, led by the flamboyant player, arrives and offers to perform. The player warns them that everyone gets caught up in performance, especially when it reflects death. Soon, they are summoned to the Danish court, where they are instructed by Claudius and Gertrude to spy on Hamlet. Their involvement in Hamlet begins to intersect more explicitly with their own narrative. Act 2 Summary. The second act is dominated by confusion and inaction. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern try to understand Hamlet, who speaks cryptically. They fail to extract meaningful information from him. Their own sense of identity becomes increasingly blurred. Each repeatedly forgets who is who. They observe a rehearsal by the tragedians, who stage a dumb show that eerily mirrors the events of Hamlet, including the deaths of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. As the real events of Hamlet unfold in the background, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are swept along, passively. They are instructed to accompany Hamlet to England, bearing a letter from Claudius. Act 3 Summary. On a ship bound for England, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern discover that the letter they carry orders Hamlet's execution. Disturbed but indecisive, they debate what to do. Before they act, Hamlet switches the letter with one that condemns them to death. The tragedians reappear, performing death scenes. Guildenstern challenges the player's use of death as entertainment, only to find that the player fakes his own death convincingly. Guildenstern stabs him, but it's all an act. The line between performance and reality further dissolves. Finally, a letter arrives confirming that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. The ambassador from England appears, echoing Shakespeare's Hamlet, and announces their deaths. The stage fades with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern vanishing into nothingness. Character analysis. Rosencrantz. Rosencrantz is more easygoing and less analytical than Guildenstern. He tends to accept things at face value and rarely questions deeply. His moments of insight are rare and usually accidental. He represents the common person, confused by the complexities of fate and reality but still hoping to play his part. His comic innocence heightens the tragic futility of their journey. Guildenstern. Guildenstern is more philosophical, introspective, and obsessed with logic. He speculates on time, existence, and the nature of death. However, despite his intellect, he is just as helpless and ignorant as Rosencrantz. He represents the rational mind trying to make sense of an irrational world. His fatal flaw is overthinking without action. The player is self-aware, theatrical, and cynical. He understands that life is performance and that death is the ultimate scene. He serves as a meta-commentator on the events of the play. He mocks Rosencrantz and Guildenstern's confusion and insists that death, like all things, can be staged. His comfort with illusion exposes the other characters' discomfort with reality. Hamlet, though central in Shakespeare's play, is peripheral here. He is mostly a mysterious presence, distant, unreadable, and poetic. His appearance intensifies the absurdity of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern's bewilderment. Hamlet represents purpose, even if it's tragic, while Rosencrantz and Guildenstern represent purposelessness. Major themes: absurdity and meaninglessness. Stoppard's play is deeply influenced by the theater of the absurd, particularly the works of Samuel Beckett. The characters struggle with lack of purpose, uncertainty, and death, all presented with humor and irony. The coin-tossing game in Act 1, where heads appears over 90 times, reveals the collapse of natural laws. This absurdity underscores the randomness and unpredictability of the world. Death and mortality. The play constantly circles the idea of death, not just as an event, but as a conceptual void. The characters never fully comprehend death, and when it finally arrives, it is silent, unremarkable, and offstage. Death is inevitable, but for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, it is also incomprehensible. Their inability to confront or act upon their mortality reflects a broader human anxiety. Free will versus determinism. Are Rosencrantz and Guildenstern free agents, or are they doomed by the script of Hamlet? They question their purpose, try to deviate from their path, but are constantly nudged back into place by external forces. Characters from Hamlet, the player, or fate itself. Stoppard asks whether humans have control over their lives or are merely actors in a predetermined drama. Identity and confusion. The repeated confusion over their names reflects a loss of individual identity. Even they do not know who is who. Their interchangeable roles suggest that identity may be arbitrary or assigned by others. This motif satirizes not only the minor status of their characters in Hamlet, but also the human tendency to search for identity in meaningless designations. Performance and reality. The line between acting and reality is constantly blurred. The tragedians stage deaths with such realism that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are unable to tell the difference. The player asserts that illusion is the only truth. This meta-theatricality reflects a postmodern worldview where representation replaces reality, and we question the authenticity of experience. Literary techniques and structure. Meta-theater. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is a quintessential meta-theatrical play. It is a play about being in a play. Characters are conscious, to varying degrees, of their scripted existence. This self-awareness deepens the play's philosophical impact. Stoppard comments not only on the nature of theater, but on the roles we all play in life. Language and wordplay. Language in the play is dense, witty, and often circular. Stoppard uses puns, philosophical debates, and comedic timing to create humor and tension. The characters often misunderstand or contradict themselves, highlighting the limitations of language. For instance, when Guildenstern insists on rational explanations for the coin tosses or tries to define death, he is met with confusion and futility. Intertextuality. By embedding his play within Hamlet, Stoppard creates an intertextual world where Shakespeare's tragedy becomes a backdrop for existential comedy. Viewers familiar with Hamlet appreciate the dramatic irony and enjoy how the minor characters have been reframed. This strategy allows Stoppard to question authority, challenge literary tradition, and rewrite history. Repetition and circularity. Scenes, phrases, and events recur throughout the play, mimicking the circular logic of existential despair. The characters are trapped in loops of thought, dialogue, and fate. This reflects existential stasis, where life is an endless repetition without resolution. Philosophical influences. Existentialism. Stoppard draws from existential thinkers like Sartre and Camus. The characters live in a world devoid of meaning or divine order. They seek purpose but find only chaos, repetition, and death. Their struggle mirrors the existentialist belief that individuals must create their own meaning in a meaningless universe. Absurdism. Like Beckett's Waiting for Godot, Stoppard's play embraces the absurdist view that human life is illogical and purposeless. Humor becomes a coping mechanism, and confusion is the default state. Stoppard diverges from nihilism by infusing the play with charm, energy, and cleverness, suggesting that while life may be absurd, it is also playful and worth observing. Reception and legacy. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead was an immediate success and won the 1968 Tony Award for Best Play. It established Stoppard as a major playwright and inspired numerous other literary reimaginings of canonical works. The play's lasting appeal lies in its blend of comedy and tragedy, its philosophical depth, and its ingenious structure. It continues to be widely performed, studied, and referenced in discussions of postmodern literature and theater. Conclusion. Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is a dazzling exploration of identity, fate, and the human condition. By placing minor characters from Hamlet at the center of an existential drama, Stoppard redefines not only their narrative, but the very nature of storytelling. The play's philosophical questions about life, death, free will, and meaning resonate deeply in a modern context where individuals often feel powerless, confused, or anonymous. Yet, Stoppard also offers moments of levity, beauty, and camaraderie. In the end, though Rosencrantz and Guildenstern vanish into oblivion, their voices echo, funny, frightened, and human, as a testament to our own journey through an indifferent, uncertain world.